everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Spirit Speaks Thursday nights, the show that we don't know how long it will be. It can be 10 minutes, it can be 30 minutes. We just don't know. We just do the best we can. Tonight we're going to be talking to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And it's been an interesting day because I have to tell you, she, for me, she's kind of throwing things out in lots of different ways. So I've gotten clairaudience from her. I've gotten pictures. I get some symbolism, a little bit of some metaphors. So it's very interesting. It's a little, and I wonder if it does have something to do with where she is. And I think that as I go, I'll get to know more about, like, if it has to do how they communicate. Is it just personality? Is it where they are? It's how long they've been gone? Is it what is it? You know? So, but it's very interesting. And I don't get I'll tell you what I get visually for her. It's kind of like if you look at, like, back in the day when we had photographs, you actually got them developed, but like the negative of a photo, she kind of looks like that. It's kind of like I can't quite get a really clear picture of her, but I know it's her. And I can, when she smiles, I can see her smile. So it's just interesting, but and I'm sure, like I said, I'll get better at determining, like, why certain people come in certain ways and other people don't, or is it just, their personality or whatever. So it's just interesting. And I did ask her one question before we got started, and I'll share that at the end, but I did it as just in writing. So and so I'll share that at the end. But I just wanted to thank Gina. Gina's going to be doing our questions, putting up the questions for us. And so, yeah, I think I'm ready. Gina, if you want to put up the first question. Okay, for RBG. Will the Equal Rights Amendment ever improve and liberate the equal rights of women, or at least balance out power between the sexes? And so she just said, a subject that goes straight to my heart. She says, oh, you bet. She's saying too that just when you think this will never happen, or this can't happen, or maybe we should give up, something will happen to push things forward. You mustn't give up. She's once again, like, she's going into the pictures, but she's showing like sweeping off a path that's all dirty, and underneath it's gold, and she's kind of wiping it off or pushing away the dirt, and it's like she's clearing the path, and there's all these women and men actually walking along this path. So she's talking about clearing the path or clearing the way. And I also think the fact that it's dirt, right? That it's messy, and it's dark. It's dark. The darkness kind of holds us back from things like that, and we need to keep working together to clear the way and help these things to happen. They will happen. Okay. Very interesting. Makes me a little nervous because I hope I can be able to understand everything she says. Okay, so Alito and Thomas seem to have their own agenda. How can we vet future nominees to avoid this? she's saying they changed on the bench. So she's making me feel like they weren't always like this. They may have been have had certain views or were conservative, but they weren't like this. She's pointing to being interesting. She's pointing to like comparing them, like their lives to other people's lives. She's pointing to, that's greed, is what she's pointing to. Let's get to the chase. But she's kind of showing that they saw other people, their lifestyles really change and become very glamorous and become very, they started to have a lot. And they wanted this. Like, why don't I have this? Why don't I have this? And she said that there are certain people that kept things like this sort of at bay. Maybe there was some like taking a gift here or something like that. But the people that came before, and she's even saying like before her, kind of tamped that stuff down. So she's making me feel like it's a more recent phenomenon, that maybe there were hints of this, but it wasn't full-blown corruption. It wasn't like that. And they weren't like that. It's been over time and over sort of looking around and seeing the lifestyles that certain people are living and thinking, well, I'm a justice. Why can't I live like that? But she's saying when certain people left, died or left, that it sort of kicked the door open for them to kind of just set their own, almost like set their own rules. Because I feel like there were people they respected that would not do that. And so they kind of tempered maybe their tendencies down. But once they were gone, it's like, oh, party time. She said they don't have the temperament. I think she's saying the temperament or the control to really be in the positions that they are now, where they're kind of like the older justices, setting the rules, setting the kind of the way things should be. They're not suited to that role. They shouldn't be in that role. They're not suited to it. Okay. Sorry, take my glasses on and off. It's just going to be one of those nights. Perhaps this is a sensitive one, but do you now wish you had retired earlier to allow a progressive to be nominated to the High Court? So she's making me feel like when she went through her life review, they actually played out that scenario. And she's saying that things may have been somewhat better for a time, but not much, because she had that same question. So whoever asked this question in her life review, she asked to see, was this a mistake? And she was surprised that it wasn't the big change that she thought it would be, or the big decision that she didn't make that decision. And so she was surprised that it was so minor. And so she's saying, she's at peace with that now. But I think she was like you, that Mountain Sunshine, that she was curious about that as well. So it was one of the possibilities or the probabilities that they played forward to see, if you had done this, this is what would have happened. Okay. So yeah, sounds like that kind of haunted her as well. So that's very interesting. Kim, can you ask the judge all of the many things going on right now, what is the one thing we can do to keep our sanity, remain whole, and still love our country? Will America come to their senses? Okay, great question, Craig. So let me ask her that. She's okay. So she's saying a couple of things. Okay, I heard a couple of things. One is that she's talking about the great experiment. So she's saying, whoops, experiment. So she is saying that this is unfolding as an experiment. So never lose heart, because it's always evolving and changing, and that will continue. And there will be moving back sometimes and then moving forward. But she's saying never lose heart. Know that this is that we, and she just said we must get this right. So she's like, this is a great experiment, so we must get this right. But there will be, it's messy, basically. It's like we go forward, we move back, or, we're unsure. There good people get in and hard people get in, and it's very messy, but we must get this right, she says. And she says, don't, that in the time that she was coming up, and she's showing herself like going to law school and going through, her education, and then going and working as like I don't know, a clerk or whatever she did before, but she's showing like how she kind of moved up, and she's saying through all of this time, there were so many problems in the country. There were all kinds of problems, but she picked, her choice of what she would hone in on was something that she was very passionate about. She believed wholeheartedly, and she let her belief and her emotion move her and move her arguments. And she's saying, you need to find what that is for you. She's not saying this, but I think she's talking about maybe it's the environment, or maybe it's, women's reproductive things, maybe it's guns, maybe it's whatever is that thing that moves your, and she's talking about like moves you emotionally. That's the thing to kind of, that's the thing that you should be focusing in on. You can't do it all. You can't do it all. Being one person, but she just said you can make a huge dent as just one individual. And so she keeps saying pick your poison. pick your poison, pick your subject, pick the thing that moves you and that you are passionate about, and work on that. But she's saying that it isn't a person's responsibility to do it all. You can't. But you can help, and you can make a dent with one person. Okay. Thank you, Gina. What are some ways that we can elevate justice and equality in our current circumstances? Okay. So she's saying that the people that are ignoring, flouting the law right now, they forget that the law is for everybody. The law is for the criminals as well as the innocent. It's to protect, and it's to ensure rights. And they're forgetting that respecting the law and understanding the place the law has in society is for everyone. When it is thrown away or discounted or ignored, it hurts everybody. So, and she's putting them in that group. And so she's basically, I feel like what she's getting to is that they think they're getting away with something, but it's going to hurt them just as much as anybody else. It's because the law is there for everybody. It's not just for, innocent people that don't do crime. It's for the criminals. It's for, people like that. So not respecting the law is going to hurt everybody. It's a thing that hurts everyone, including them. Okay, so I'm just gonna, so that's what she wanted to start with, so that's one thing. So, okay, so she's talking about, she's saying kind of like hold their feet to the fire. So putting pressure on, people to still make the right decisions, being supportive of judges that do the right thing. To me, it kind of feels like throw your support, because there are judges that are elected, that, that we vote in, that we put in place as citizens. So making sure that we're doing our part to make sure people that are doing the right thing remain in their positions, and ones that don't are removed, or at least are made to feel as though they have done something wrong, to not just accept it. They need to fix, and she's saying there is with some, sometimes when people sit in that seat of judge, they can think they're God. They can kind of get like a God complex. They can kind of get carried away, basically, and they need to be brought down to earth. They need to understand what a huge responsibility they have. Remind them of that. So I think she's talking about like citizen activism, like calling them, or lending our support, or kicking them out, or impeaching, or it's like we have things at our disposal that we can move into and do the right thing. We need to, but I feel like her main thing is kind of like, don't give up. This isn't the way, when people do things like this isn't the way it should be. And I think that's why she opened with, the law's for everybody. It's not just for certain people, it's for everybody. Yeah, I'm going to leave that there. Okay. Okay, here we go. What does she think of the Supreme Court saying a president has immunity? What was behind Roberts' decision to go along with this extreme decision? Will the court be reformed? So she put up her hand, and she's like a 4 or 5. So I feel like there might be 4 or 5 years is maybe what she's saying, that it may take some time to reform this court, or make some big changes. Or is she talking about 4 or 5 judges? No, I think she's talking about time. but she seems well aware of the fact that this can't go on. This is not okay. She's not really, she's very aware that this isn't good. It's not good for the country to have this, and to have such a she just said a cynical court. So the immunity, I'm asking her about the immunity. What did she make of that? She's saying for a good and responsible president, this could be important, because there may be things that that might put a president in jeopardy, and you don't want what they have in a lot of country, countries that do have unfair governments. You don't want where they can just start arresting presidents. You don't really want that. But she's saying this was the wrong person to put that kind of trust and faith in. So she's saying in some circumstances you can see this, but for this, no way. This shouldn't have happened. And she's making me feel like a boys' club, a men's club, like this. They're in the same club, and so this is why this happened. But that shouldn't be the reason things like this happen. It's very the way she just answered is very judgy, because it's kind of like you can see where this might work over here, and why they might make this decision, or who it might be good for. But in this case, right now, no, this was not a good thing to do. But they're in the same club, and so they did it for the wrong person for the wrong reasons. Is basically, I'll just cut to the chase and say that. Okay. So interesting. She's an interesting lady. Given the challenges facing democracy today, how would you envision a better version? So she just said Citizens United, which I know is something. I know that's something. I can't remember what it is, but she just said that. She's also talking about money. Money needs to go. The money in politics, the money behind the lobbying, and it's so. And she's saying that we only know some of it. We'll know all of it soon, but we only know some of what's going on. But it's all money. It's foreign money. It's billionaire money. There is too much money. And she's talking about fairness, things being fair when it comes to people running for office. And I feel like it's like cut off money. So she's also talking about cutting off the terms for Supreme Court justices. She's thinking they should have like terms. So she's like, there's a lot of things you could do. There's so many things you could do, and it would almost immediately stop the flow that is corrupting so many. But she's saying it happens to the best of them. It's a very for the earth, money and power are incredibly difficult to resist when you're a certain type of person. So you need to get rid of that temptation. You need to just not have it there. She just said countries do it all the time. They do it all the time. They don't have that. They don't have this issue. So it can be done here. But those are the things she's bringing up. Okay, Citizens United, unleash unlimited dark money. Okay, there you go. Into politics. Okay, so there you go. So that's the first thing she said was Citizens United. Okay, thank you for that. I couldn't remember. I knew I'd heard that before, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I know there's another one that's all about like the media and stuff, and I couldn't remember. Yeah. Anyway, will the Supreme Court uphold the Constitution and legally castrate Hakodan? Will the Supreme Court uphold the Constitution? Mm-hmm. So she just said, so she just said, remember, they're in the same club. So they're going to push things as far as they can. But she said they're starting to realize their goose is cooked. So and that phrase is just so funny. It's not a phrase I would ever use. But they're starting to realize their goose is cooked. And I think she was... because you mentioned the taco thing, she wants to know what that is. Anyway, their goose is cooked. And they're going to start maybe pulling back in certain areas, but it's like don't be surprised if they still push their agenda and that kind of thing, because they're in the same club. I think when she says the same club, I think she's talking about money and corruption and, all whatever they do. Okay. So funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. What was the metaphysical cause and spiritual role of her cancer? Metaphysical cause and... Okay. So she's saying that's a great question, because she's saying that there is always an emotional component. She's saying, I never slowed down. I just was always going. And even with a serious, she's saying, even with a serious diagnosis, I'm like, I got to work harder. I did not get the memo. I got to work harder. That means I got to work even harder. And she's saying too that she always had and she's saying women can appreciate this, but she always felt she was proving herself, trying to prove her trying to make sure that she was that anyone who worked with her knew she deserved to have that chair. So she was always trying to prove herself. And by that, she would work just as hard as anybody else, just as long as anybody else, even if she wasn't feeling great, even if she got sick, even if she needed to rest, she would just plow right through. So she's saying if there was an emotional component or another cause that was outside of just my body getting older and getting more susceptible to things, that it would be, I never slowed down. So many times she's like, I can see I should have stopped, I should have slowed down, I should have made adjustments, and I just didn't. So this made me slow down. And I think her mentioning too about feeling like she was having to, solidify the fact that I deserve to be here may have had something to do with it as well, because she's brought that up as well. So yeah, very good question. Okay, why don't we do one more? I feel like she's fading from me, but I'm still getting her. So let's just Ginsburg. Were justices on the court as corrupt when you were there as they are now? How did you deal with it? She's saying they would not have basically they wouldn't have done that around me. They there was a certain level or a certain standard that was there for quite a long time, even with the more highly conservative or whatever you want to say, right, really, really right wing. There was still this sort of a line that would not be crossed. And she's saying something happened between, and she's putting it at Barack Obama. She's saying something happened here that sort of tipped things over the edge or made them different. It may be the Tea Party and stuff. Maybe that's what she's alluding to, but it's like something happened around here that things started to kind of get harsher, messier, meaner, and not as civil. She's saying, however, with me, I didn't get a lot of that because I would hear it maybe secondhand or something like that. But while she was still there, it didn't cross her very much. Like it was almost like they would never do that around me, that kind of feeling. But something happened around that time. She's pinpointing that time that was where things started to get uglier, basically. Yeah. So I'm going to read you guys the, yeah, she was respected. Absolutely. I was going to read you the question that I asked her at the beginning. And I was just doing some automatic writing with her before I started, it helps me to like tune into her voice more because like it's all clairaudience. And I said to her, is there anything in particular you'd like to get across to people right now? And she said, yes, there is. In all my years on the bench, I've never seen what you and yours are experiencing now. But I tell you, this country will make it through. Somehow, some way, all will be well and even better than before. So, straight from RBG, okay? So, thank you, everybody. We're making it about a half hour, so that's pretty good, right? And I'm hoping it'll just get longer, and then maybe we can do more than one. We'll just see where it goes. I'm not going to have any expectations. I'll just kind of lay it out there. And like I said, you guys are the interviewers, so I'm just going to, stay in my place as the telephone. And thank you, Gina, for doing the questions. Thank you so much, and for keeping an eye on the tribe here. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And thank you to RBG for showing up. Thank goodness. I kind of feel like this might be a little bit like ladies' night where, because we used to say that we think we're choosing them, but actually they're choosing us. So it may be that, it's kind of one of those things where I feel like I'm, working with Cassie to kind of figure out who the person we should talk to is, but I think maybe they're picking us. Maybe we'll see as we go forward. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Gina. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much. And oh, and be sure to write in and tell me who you want to hear from. Okay, so just write it in the comments, and Cassie and I will go through and get everybody's suggestions. Okay. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Gina.